Welcome to our second episode dealing with making difficult people disappear. So here's a quotation for you. It's a bit long, but I think it's worth it. And it's from Monica Wofford's book, Make Difficult People Disappear: How to Deal with Stressful Behavior and Eliminate Conflict. Who wouldn't want to do that? So here's the quotation. How often do you look at your difficult co-workers and expect them to do the same things you would do when you know that it's not their style or standard of behavior? Are you labeling them as difficult because of their fault or your own disappointment? Are you choosing to insist that they do what you would do, even when you know better, and then punishing them for their actions anyway? In the first installment, we learned that making difficult people disappear was all about you, your expectations, your attitude, and what you're prepared to accept. Now, you've probably heard of the golden rule, which says, do unto others as you would have done unto you. In a previous recording, I told you about my challenge with the golden rule. In that, it presupposes that everyone is just like you. When you go to the workplace, you're not going to find clones of yourself. So, yes, there will be some people who think what you think, who believe what you believe, who behave the way that you believe. But it is unreasonable to expect that everyone will be just like you. Diversity exists everywhere, including the workforce. And if we're going to be successful, we have to embrace that diversity. So here's the story with these difficult people now. For the most part, we view them as difficult because they're different than we are. They think differently, they behave differently. And so when we expect them to think the way we think and behave the way that we behave, and they don't, that's one of the reasons that they end up with this label of being difficult. So the challenge is to acknowledge diversity, to embrace diversity, and to value diversity. And that's why I'm a proponent of the platinum rule. And you may have heard me talk about this before. The platinum rule says, do unto others as they would have done unto them. And the platinum rule, in contrast with the golden rule, acknowledges that people are different. They have different aspirations, they have different mindsets, they have different belief systems, they have different experiences. And so part of making difficult people disappear is to change our expectations, to be realistic and to acknowledge that people aren't always going to think the way that we think, behave the way that we behave, or that we expect them to behave. It doesn't mean that we cannot work together. And so part of the strategy for making difficult people disappear is to take the time to get to understand them, to know them, to appreciate the differences, and see how those differences can add value rather than being a source of disappointment or a source of conflict in the workplace. So think about someone who's in your workplace that, you guys just don't seem to be in sync. How might you adjust your attitude? How might you adjust your expectations? How might you adjust how you interact with this person in order to take the difficulty away, in order to help to bring, not necessarily equal or the same behavior from them, but to be compatible, to reduce the conflict? That's the challenge for you. So this has been episode 2 in our 5-part series for making difficult people disappear. And again, we're starting with you. So the challenge for you coming out of this episode is for you to acknowledge the differences that these difficult people manifest and to adjust your expectations accordingly. And you'll see they just might disappear.